Alright guys, FEMZ back again. I'm sorry for my brief hiatus. I've not been in my bag. I've been busy with more of my immediate responsibilities. This is like a side project. I don't fully know what is gonna happen with this project I have, but I think my goal is clear now. I want to make a community with you guys. I want to be close to my subscribers, people who understand or vibe with what I'm saying or want to understand. I want to be closer to you guys. I want to have a community where we can just talk to each other. Any problems you feel you have in what just a community. Like, a community isn't just it's not just to have your back. It's to feel like you're not a monolith, right? You can be a monolith, but sometimes you just need somebody to say that you're not crazy. So anyways, the long-awaited video is we're about to start it off with power and its cultivation. Now, a lot of people have different definitions of power, or power might emanate in different magnitudes across different vectors. So it's such a big term, but people don't necessarily know what it is, especially in the way I'm about to talk about it tonight or this afternoon. So for me, power is, or at least for Merriam-Webster, power is the ability to do something, or is the ability to exert influence over something, right? Now, for me, that can manifest itself in so many ways. It's not even funny. Somebody can scream you down. Somebody can punch the fuck out of you, and 2 + 2 is 5. At least for that little interaction, for that little world you guys had, the dialogue, the scene. For the sake of that scene, 2 + 2 was 5 because he punched you in the face. Now, those type of that type of existence has long been wiped. Like, you cannot beat somebody by screaming them down these days, because there are community notes on X. There's such an interconnected network of people that if your argument even gets any traction, there will be a third party. So that type of power is very stupid or very bad. It's not wise to put your skill points in that type of power that requires you to pace around the room and scream somebody down. I mean, it may work in sales. Don't get me wrong, this type of power still has very niche applications, but it's not true. It's not that type of power that will make you feel good. It's not that type of power that emanates and helps people around you. It's not that type of power. It's not the benevolent type of power, okay? Now, I also want to tell you another type of power, but I'm not going to talk about it because it requires a lot of factors. It requires blood. It requires, you being in the right bloodline. It requires you having an understanding of the order you're in. And it requires knowing how to manipulate the variables within your order to succeed. So those type of dynamics, those type of Leviathan dynamics, I'm also not interested in that. I'm more interested in the real, authentic, raw, and if somebody violates you, you have every right to challenge them to a duel type shit. Like, because you've been living, you have true power. So let me explain what, at least in my definition, true power is. True power is controlling what you can and expanding your area of control. So for me, I wasn't born in any privileged position, so the way I developed mine was to sit down, right, and shut the fuck up. Now, this sounds a bit derogatory, telling my audience to shut the fuck up, but listen, the body communicates 70% of all dialogue or all communication, right? So 30% of your communication can be through your mouth, but a majority of it is in the unsaid. So if you're living in a world of words, in a world of what you're told, and you're moving by that, oh, you're in for a rude awakening, dog. Like, you need to keep quiet and you need to allow your eyes take hold of things. You need to allow your ears to take hold and understand tone and understand when somebody's eyes go left, that they're trying to be creative, and when somebody's eyes are trying to go right, they're accessing their memory. So you can catch lies, you can see the way people are walking, you can tell. And then when you realize these things, you're like, okay, I didn't necessarily focus on these parts of myself. So a lot of the unsaid in you is RNG, like random. So it's up to you to now go through the process of burning, scraping, freezing the fuck out of aspects of yourself that you don't like. That left hip, that right hip, you need to let blood flow through it so it can heat up and stretch back into its normal position, and you must keep using it. So a lot of, you don't need to ask your body to do these things, because it's not improvements, it's just going back to the natural way in which your talents are aligned. So you need to keep the fuck quiet so that these lessons can bake themselves into your nervous system. That's why a lot of people, a lot of gurus, a lot of self-improvement guys, their first order of business is your body, or they try to make you go to the gym, because a lot is said in the unsaid, okay? A lot is said in the unsaid. A lot of people do rest on their back when they feel like they're cornered, because they have a backbone, okay? They actually have worked on their back and developed a back that when they walk in front of a crowd, people want to follow them because they like to look at that developed back. I'm telling you that this is very visceral. This is very serious advice that I'm trying to give to people who talk too much, okay? You may have been blessed with the gift of gab. You can talk down anybody in the room. You can rally people on your side, Cool. I'm saying you may become a killer salesman just off that strap. But I'm trying to say that there's somebody who's gonna meet you that isn't gonna care about what you have to say and wants to see your body of work. And that's the only power you have, your body of work. Literally, the body, your vessel that you walk around with. There's nothing to improve in that. You have 2 black holes in the front of your head. You have ears that never get tired of listening. You have skin that is always giving your brain the feedback. Why don't you use those instruments to the best of your ability? Form a sense of self, form an essence, and then use that essence to go for things you want in this life. And I don't believe that this process takes a week. I don't believe it takes a month. I don't even believe it takes 8 months. There are people who have taken vows of silence in the olden days, or even today. The past, present, and future all exist at once. So there are people who on this planet are taking vows of silence and are not speaking, and are in tune with their heartbeat, are in tune with their vision, and are in tune with whatever the fuck, and they are using these natural infinities, right? These primal tools of excellence, and they have tamed themselves, and they have their own cadence, and they have their own aura that is uncopyable. Anyways, that is the truth about power. Power is about controlling what you can. Power doesn't ask. Power doesn't go around the room and say, yeah, listen to me here, listen to me here. It doesn't work that way. You must have made the right sacrifices beforehand. And then power is on your side. You know, let's look at olden ways of solving problems, because I feel like the way modern society is constructed in a way that mitigates risk. So let's say you go now, you want to be a businessman, you try hard, you fail, and now you're on benefits, right? You never truly hit rock bottom in a society like this one, a first world society, where your greatest problem can be your rent or something like that. There's no real incentive to be powerful. And I'm trying to say that power is no respecter of persons. In the former way of the sacrifices required, and in the latter way of fucking just exuding it. When you are walking in power, you're still making the sacrifices to it, right? To power, but other people can now sense the work you've put in, because they're only witnessing that moment. They're not witnessing all that's happened before. So that is what power is. It's not the fact that, oh, somebody is jacked and they're eating 10 donuts a day or something like that. They will literally begin to lose the perspective, number one. And secondly, the perspective, after the perspective is lost, all the gains are going to be lost with it. So part of me is super pissed off that I've missed you guys for about 4 days, but I tried my best to keep the perspective of a philosopher through YouTube. I tried my best, but obviously me not doing this has also made me lose a bit of my fluidity. It's also made me lose a bit of my gift of gab at the camera, right? So that's why I'm trying to let you know that when you are living this life of autonomy, or you want to be free, you must make sacrifices for power, which you can control. So when you make sacrifices, right, the first one, I'm going to summarize it, I'm going to go all the way back. The first one is to right? Just enter yourself. You can even tell yourself, hey, hi. Different people have different methods. I mean, you can see a yogi on the mountain meditating, not saying a word, or you can see someone like Goggins talking himself through hellish situations. I'm telling you that you can literally find yourself and do anything you want to it. And as long as it's you, it's gonna work. And that's gonna give you the second thing, which is the perspective. A king does not need to wear a crown, or the crown that is gonna be given to you will not be able to, it's a metaphysical crown that won't be able to be snatched away from you. And even in rags, people can tell. People can still come to you and draw strength from you, because strength You can't pay for strength. You can't pay for fortitude. You can't pay for resilience. You can't pay for wit. You can't pay for clairvoyance. You can't pay for moral rectitude or might. You can't pay for it. You must organically foster it. You must stick to a regimen. Your regimen, the regimen you decide. When you eat food, the actual ability to listen to your body. Not that you're going and you're nuking your stomach from McDonald's and you can't even tell you're being nuked. The worst sin in this journey is not knowing. Not knowing that you've just nuked 3 weeks of work with one act. So after you get the perspective, after you get the sacrifices down, after you get the perspective, the third is execution. You must execute ruthlessly. You must be so ruthless in how you wipe things off your Rolodex or off your task list. I mean, there are so many ways. I'm sure people literally have apps that have made life a video game for themselves. They have their inventory, they have their everything sorted. There are people who have AI giving them their daily schedule. They've whipped AI to the point that this shit is their personal assistant. There are so many people out there with tools, but they don't have the original power. So maybe one day after their AI tool has given them something, they beat off or they do something. It's not a true unbreakable chain. It's not a true unbreakable chain. So the aura is not there. And I'm telling you that there are some people who have not broken their chain for years. They grew, they germinated, operated, and destroyed, or they created, organized, and executed in such a ruthless manner every single motherfucking day for years that these guys are literally heroes walking about. These guys are literal God walking the earth. And I'm telling you that when you look at animes, when you look at cartoons, when you look at fictional movies, or even when you look at the WWE, these people were written out by writers. Okay? People who their domain expansion, right? The the greatest expression of their humanity manifested through writing, through the written word. They have decided to pick human entities out of the zeitgeist and make a character, distill their essence into a character that you can now view and pontificate upon. So if you're looking at anybody, you should be looking at fictional characters. You should not look at any human being because firstly, you may not even meet anybody who has organic power. Everybody in your circle may be powerless. You know, people may talk a big game, but you pry deep enough and you realize, oh my this, oh my that, oh my, like you realize that it's they are being pulled by forces. They are not the one going to forces, or they are not the ones managing forces. They are being pulled by forces. They are just an actor most of the time. They aren't acting, you know, because you're gonna act whether you want to or not. But whose script, under how much of the script was written by you? That is what I want you to think about today. You know, I want you to think about how much power do you truly have? Are your friends just a result of random happenstances, or are you truly building a group of people that you can mingle your kids with, or you can build a monolith, or you can build a business, or you can start a project and you know, oh, this guy has music down, oh, this guy has art down, oh, this guy has this down. You're building your own party structure, your own party command structure. Can you even think like that at this point in time? Or are you just going where the wind blows? And that'll be the next order of discussion. I'm going to talk to you about order and chaos, how to spot it, because those are, apart from art and programming, I mean, that's it in a world. But in the world, it's order and chaos. It's the ability to structure things versus entropy. Do you get what I mean? This versus this. And some things necessarily go from this to this, you see? But some things have to be strong for life, for our conceivable lifetimes, because the next generation may not fuck with it as well. So these are the dimorphisms. You can see how order and chaos play with each other to form the yin and yang thing, to form the Ouroboros thing, to form the Sisyphus thing. You need to be as ordered as you can in your personal cultivation of power, so that even when life doesn't go your way, you don't get mad. I mean, you can't get mad and then you can get a dub off. Like, it's literally, the game is so fun. It's so, you can do anything you want, but how is coming from what place? Are you punching from, even if you're punching above your weight class, are you punching from the balls of your feet after whipping it through your knee, then whipping it through your fucking waist, then whipping it through your shoulder, then whipping it through your fucking elbow, then whipping it through your wrist, then ripping it through your fucking knuckles, then strike it from your whole body at the right time to get that energy from the floor? Or are you just arm punching? You get me? Like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, and even after you're whipping it you're throwing black fascias every time, do you have the fucking endurance to keep doing it? How much can you sustain as well? These are questions you must ask yourself, bro. Because if you can't do it, you won't do it. That's the type of world you live in. If you can't do it, you won't do it. Or if you won't do it, you can't do it. Nobody cares about whether you have the capacity to do one squat. Okay, can you repeat it 100 times though? And if you can't, you can't. That is how power is. So even if you can do one push-up, right, and you don't do it, time is gonna be like, oh, okay, this guy's not doing push-ups. He cannot even do one. And boom, one day you're gonna try and do it and you won't even be able to do one. So it's up to you to create the type of reality you want. It's up to you to create truth through action. This is what truth to power is. This is your will to power. Nietzsche spoke on this, but enough about that. Safe.